Yes? You may ask. It is not possible to dock at the Academy without the proper codes. Yes, but I could not give them to you. You may ask. I am the last of the Handmaidens. This is correct. I train so that one day that will no longer be true. That is not entirely correct. There are times I am distracted. Perhaps once having known the ways of the Jedi, you may understand what occupies my thoughts. There is much knowledge on Telos, and only one of the Jedi remain. There is so much about their ways of battle, their forms, their stances, that may be lost forever if the last of the Jedi is taken from the galaxy. To the Ichani, battle is a means of communication. It is an art in the truest sense of the word. Stance, form, discipline are a means of expression and communication. They speak one's heart and one's devotion to their cause. Yes, the methods you use to meet your opponents speak truer than any words can express. When you risk pain or death, there is no truer sacrifice or strength. If that is where one's devotion lies, when you risk pain or death for another, there is no truer test of your beliefs and strength. You may ask. I am the last of the Handmaidens. This is correct. I train so that one day that will no longer be true. It dishonors me that they would say such a thing to an outsider, but I cannot deny the truth in what they say. My thoughts are not always focused on training. Perhaps, once having known the ways of the Jedi, you may understand what occupies my thoughts. There is much knowledge on Telos, and only one of the Jedi remain. There is so much about their ways of battle, their forms, their stances, that may be lost forever if the last of the Jedi is taken from the galaxy. Atris has already preserved it. What I wonder is if the Jedi teachings should not simply be stored, but brought to others. There is much in their approach to battle that is worthy to be shared. I know your meaning, but I have not been clear on mine. Stance, form, discipline are a means of expression and communication. They speak one's heart and one's devotion to their cause. It was to the Jedi traitor Malak. It was to the Jedi traitor Revan. When Taris was destroyed, it showed Malak's heart through its execution and intent. It was brutal, without finesse, but showed his commitment to defeat the Jedi. Yet with Revan, there was the same commitment, but it was a subtle thing, like weaving threads in a tapestry or strokes upon a canvas. She spoke through battles and tactics, in a way one could never do in words. She showed her heart at Malachor V, and finally at the end of the Jedi Civil War. I believe she was speaking to Malak in that final battle, though few knew it. Through battle, Revan was meeting betrayal with betrayal, and showing Malak the pain he had inflicted on his master. What stronger display than death, for conveying one's sense of being betrayed by one's own student? Revan's anger must have been great indeed. I would have wished to have been there for that final exchange, and seen the truth of their conflict with each other. But to say that seems an untruth, based on what I know of the Jedi. The Force can drive others, but there is still choice, is there not? If there is no choice in the Force, then our teachings and our actions are for nothing, and I refuse to believe that is true. Yes? You may ask. I honor the face of my mother. It is not something usually spoken of in the company of others. Yes, that is correct. I feel that I may trust you with such things, so I shall speak of it if you wish to hear it. Though my father's blood I share with my sisters, I wear the face of my mother. My father was Usanis, an Ichani general. He left our family to serve in the Mandalorian Wars, but his choice was not because of battle. He went to join my mother, one whose movements and spirit matched his. His only desire was that they fight together, side by side, for as long as there were enemies amassed against them. I never saw her face, and she did not return from the final battle of the war. She died in the battle that shattered Malachor V, and her body was never recovered. My father returned from the Mandalorian Wars, and did not enter battle again. He entered politics, a caste where one's battles are fought through words rather than action. He was slain by Revan in the Jedi Civil War. When Revan sought to destabilize the Ichani worlds, Revan succeeded. The fact that our father chose battle is not shameful, but that is not the reason he went to war. He went to war to be with the one he loved, but not the one he had pledged himself to. He was disloyal. I am the mark of that disloyalty. It is said that such things run in the blood, and I have fought long to prove that this is not so. That is why I am different from my sisters. Yet I am pledged to them, and Atris, and I would die before betraying them. I tell you this in trust, and ask that you not speak of it to others. I only wish you to know. Because when my father returned from the Mandalorian Wars, he walked as you do now. There was something wounded inside him. He did not speak of what had happened there, and with us he was silent, changed. When I look upon you, I see in you an answer to a question I have searched for all my life, and that is why I tell you this now. I do not believe you to be the monster Atris made you out to be. I believe your choice was my father's choice, and it was just as difficult. Malachor V is the place where I lost my mother and my father, but it was their choice to fight the Mandalorians and to die there if Malachor was to be their grave. I know it is difficult for others to see why I am here, but it was important that you know one of the reasons, and know that it is not simply duty that I am here, but because I want to be here. I want to fight with you side by side for as long as there are enemies that threaten you. You are a leader. Your stance, your every action proves it. You honor me, exile. Together, then.
You are spending time with the servant of Atris. I knew her mother. She was a Jedi Knight, a master, named Aaron Kai. Jedi are forbidden to have children, and when the crime finally came to light almost a decade later, Kai was exiled. She joined the Mandalorian Wars after the shame of her birth was revealed. Revan welcomed her, and she was said to be a skilled warrior, beautiful and strong in the Force. The Force flows strongly in the blood of those born from Force sensitives. I doubt that Aaron was any different. If the servant of Atris is of her blood, then the potential lies within her. If you train her, if you teach her the ways of the Jedi, you will be asking her to break her oath to Atris. It would be best not to train her, and let the bloodline die with Telos. Ah, that was an interesting choice of words indeed. She has sworn not to follow the path of the Jedi by her oath, but even that oath is limited. One does not need to be Jedi to learn the ways of the Force. I suspect it cares little for our codes and philosophies. Should she? By whose judgment should such truths be revealed? I do not have such arrogant presumptions. The Jedi separate children from their parents as they did you. It is because family exerts a powerful influence on one's development. I am merely saying that revealing such things can have profound consequences, nothing more. You must train yourself first. The time will reveal itself. Yet if you persist as you have, building her trust, then you will be training her, whether you know it or not, until the choice is hers, not yours. Before you go, a word of caution. Spend time with her if you must, but recognize where your true loyalties lie, to the galaxy and yourself. So then perhaps I was mistaken in my judgment. Never have you wondered what it would mean in the Ichani rituals if the two of you sparred and fought, and you won, completely and utterly? If perhaps she would give in, surrender herself to you, Few are the thoughts that can hide in the shadows of your mind. Exile. And such passions are not strength, but erosion. No? Then perhaps I was simply mistaken. Very well. I shall keep such judgments to myself.